Well, I'm here just to clarify the Andrew Bynum situation. I just want to emphasize that we have been forthcoming and consistent with the information. We've said all along that we need some patience, that this is hard to predict, this healing process, that Andrew is the indicator, how his body reacts, how we can take the next step in his rehab program. So our information from the doctors, we have a group of doctors, one, our team doctor, another, his personal doctor, and two well-respected international knee specialists. The information that we have is that Andrew has bilateral bone bruises and a weakened cartilage state. That's what we know. The bottom line here is that Andrew is out indefinitely. We don't know when he'll be back. Only Andrew can answer that question. His body can answer that question. When he feels better, we can step up the rehab program. So basically, now there are no timelines. He's out indefinitely, and we just have to wait to see how Andrew reacts to the rehab and so on.
Who's in charge of his rehab and what he is doing?
We are in charge of his rehab, yes. And right now he's just doing low-impact rehab situation. I just want to emphasize also that we are doing everything possible. We're leaving no stone unturned. We are consulting with the best experts in the world. We are looking into his rehab program. We are talking to doctors. We are doing everything possible to get him back on the court because we want to see that, and everyone, our fans, want to see that. So that's where we are. But basically, we want to focus on our team now. We want to put this behind us now. We don't know when he's coming back. We have a good team out there. We have a great coaching staff. They're doing a great job. We're playing hard every night, and we just want to focus on the team going forward. And when there's updates, we'll give them to you at an appropriate time.
So last week, the December 10th date, was that, basically this is saying that December 10th date as resuming basketball-related activities is off, essentially?
That is off. There are no timelines now. The only time we have is what we said the last time we talked, is that mid-December he will be reevaluated. He will have new MRIs, and we will have more information at that time. But there are no timelines now.
Tony, he now has a second bone bruise, which he says happened bowling. What the reaction of the front office that he now has another injury that he's dealing with?
Well, that's an unfortunate situation. This is something, with this weakened cartilage state, that things can happen. As he said the other day, he's just taking 3 steps and rolling the ball. We talked to him after the situation and says that, basically you can't do anything that's going to jeopardize any type of rehab. We have to make sure that we're doing all the right things. We're doing rehab and we're consulting everyone. So everyone has to be on the same page.
I remember at the end of October I asked you if he had passed his physical and if you would make that deal knowing what you knew at that time, and you said you would. Does any of this medical information look different than what you were given when he did pass the physical today? And giving the calculated risk, is it greater now?
Well, first of all, at the time of the trade, and we had 4 doctors look at his MRIs and examine him, we knew it was a calculated risk. We also knew that we were getting the second best center in the league, franchise-type player, and we took that risk. His knees now and the MRIs are not the same as they were at that time, so it's a different type situation. But we are still looking at big picture here, long term here. We're hopeful that after this situation heals and we can get him back on the court, that we can plan on him for the future.
How did he get worse? At what point do you say you got to try something a little more of impact? At what point because this guy has played with pain. I mean, he put off one surgery a couple of years ago to go play 23 playoff games, so he's played with pain.
Yeah, well, he has to be comfortable with it, and his doctors have to be comfortable with it. We cannot tell a player to go out, play when they don't feel comfortable, and they can do further injury to their bodies or to their knees. So it's really Andrew. It's really how he reacts, how he feels when we can step up the rehab program and eventually get him back on the court.
Tony, how did his knees get worse? How does that happen when he's not playing?
Yeah, it's he has like a weakened cartilage state now, and actually the doctors are trying to figure out what caused this weakened cartilage state. There's some things that they're looking into and trying to evaluate and see what it is, but his condition at the trade deadline and now are completely different. It's what causes weakened cartilage state, the doctors do not know.
Would it be fair to say orthokine is being looked at because that's the one thing that he did differently? Like he had the Synvis before, that's the one thing he did.
Well, the doctors are looking at everything, so they're trying to evaluate, they're trying to pinpoint what it is and either make some corrections or let it go through the healing process and then get them back.
Okay,
Tony,
you have time for one or two more.
Twice he has said when he's talked that if it were a playoff situation, he would probably go out there. Do you think he still could do that? Like, has he said that to you? I understand the caution, but, at some point it becomes, he needs to help this franchise.
Well, I think he stated that to the press, and that's his decision.
Okay.
That's something that he has to do, that he has to feel good about. This new situation with this weakened cartilage, this has to heal itself. It has to get back to normal. And then, it's Andrew's decision, basically, when he feels good and when he can get back on the court.
Is there any consideration?
Last one, guys.
Is there any consideration, Tony, that he may not play at all for the 76ers?
Is there any consideration?
That he may not play at all for the 76ers?
We hope he will be back. I mean, we're anticipating he'll be back at some point. We hope he will be back. We have plans for the future if he is not back with us. But we are anticipating this is a short-term thing, and we want to plan on him for long-term.